That's going to be a fun little DIY video. But even the thought of doing that right now is making my already aching body scream with pain. So I'm going to go sit down and make a rant video. I haven't done that in a while. Alright, so I got me a new project guitar. Yeah, another Les Paul. I had one sort of like this, except it was a bit different color. But pretty much the same guitar. Ooh. So this is another 2014. Previous owners changed the knobs. I like the look of these ones, but in practicality, they're a bit too slippery. And just practically, I don't like the way these... God, I can't even speak. I'm so tired. There was a lot of friggin' snow yesterday. I was out a total of 10 times to clear our driveway. 50 centimeters. Anyway, so yeah. So I got this Les Paul. It's pretty nice looking. I like the way it looks. I do not like the way this looks at all. It looks stupid. It looks wrong. It looks like they did this on purpose. This sort of thing irritates me. Like, why the fuck would you leave the back of a Les Paul neck to look like this? Why wouldn't you just stain it some other color? The last one I had, the back of the body and the neck were the same color. But anyway, so yeah, I feel like this is sort of bullshit. I don't like the way this looks at all. I would like for this to be all one uniform color. Like, when the fuck have you ever seen a Les Paul with two different... I don't know. I think that looks stupid. I don't like it. But, that said, this is actually a really nice playing guitar. I did a tiny little bit of setup work to it, just to get it to play the way I like it to play, but not too much. I haven't done a heap to it because I want to do a few videos of it. There's some things I'm going to change. Few little updates I'm gonna make. So yeah, this is my new project guitar. I literally bought this to have a project guitar to play with to make some videos. So this is a 2014 guitar. So it's a couple of years old now. And as I, one of the first things I notice right away is as I run my fingers down the edge of the fingerboard, these are all sharp. Like, not just a little sharp, but a lot sharp. These fret ends are all very proud. They're all very proud of the fingerboard. And you can tell somebody's... Anyway, that stuff's hard to show on camera, but these are all very proud of the fingerboard. So this all needs to be knocked down, because it's just sharp fret ends as far as the eye can see. So here's a 2-year-old Gibson LPJ, and whether it came like this from the factory or whether over time, the neck has shrunk a little bit, I don't know. But it's not often you get to see reviews on guitars that are a couple of years old, which is why... And this isn't a review. This is by no means a review. I'm not even going to play it. This is a rant. This is a rant about reviews on the internet. I don't think I can stomach... I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm probably in the minority of people in general, but I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm a stay-home dad. I make YouTube videos, so I spend a lot of time on the internet. And I am just fucking over reviews on the internet. Of anything. Reviews. Because, let's be honest, people who are reviewing things on the internet are either being sent them to give their honest feedback, or they're being paid to give a review, or some other monetary transaction is occurring in one way, shape, or form or another for these reviewers to review products on the internet. And I just think it's disingenuous. I think it's about time that we really, as consumers, because that's what I consider myself. I don't consider myself this YouTuber who's inaccessible, who thinks anything of themselves in any grandiose way. I'm just a guy at home, like all of you. And I feel like anytime I say anything, I'm saying it through a consumer's voice. Just the same as you would want, right? I'm that guy who's watching YouTube videos whose eyes are rolling up into the back of his head as a reviewer tries to tell me how wonderful everything they review is. And that's just horse shit. I can tell you right now, this is a really nice Les Paul. Like, this plays and sounds phenomenal. It's really crisp sounding. Mostly I like the way it looks, but that's subjective. But there's a few problems with it that I'm gonna need to sort out. Fuck, I'm fucking over everything here. But there's a few problems I wanna sort out with it, and a few aesthetic enhancements I wanna make to it. But I'm not in a rush to do any of that, and I think I'm just gonna do this as sort of a little bit of a project guitar here. Because I'd like a nice little Les Paul to keep. I don't want a really expensive Les Paul. I've played standards, I've played Les Paul customs, and I guess I'm just not a good enough player to be able to tell you the difference in how well they play. I'm just not for my playing style, not for how much I play. Like, I'm that guy at home, right? Like most people. I can tell you that that's a pretty phenomenal guitar. That, in every way, shape imaginable, is a phenomenal guitar. It sounds phenomenal, it plays phenomenal, it feels phenomenal. For me, that just hits every single button. And I think, as far as reviews go, that's where you need to take this stuff with a bit of a grain of salt. I think people need to tell you, like, what's really up. And what's really up is, this is a budget guitar that's got really minimal finishing done to it. It needs a bit of work. I can tell somebody has tried to deepen the slots here on the nut, but they failed to clear away so these bind up in the nut. So, like, these feel pretty high right now to me. So were these really high from the factory or what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't $760, I think is what these went for. $760 American, about the same Canadian. So do the math in whatever country you're in, the exchange. But that's not an insignificant amount of money. And I've played other $700-800 guitars that play and are finished to a standard way higher than this. I have sort of a love-hate relationship with Gibsons. Some of them are so wonderful in every way you could conceive of. Like, I legitimately can't make a complaint about the functionality of this guitar in any way. I just can't. I cannot find fault with the way this guitar was made and with the way it plays. Apart from that brass nut, which Gibson swapped out to the titanium, but that's really it. But with this, big time. Right? Just because it's a cheaper guitar, it doesn't mean you should 3/4 of the way finish it. You know what I mean? Like, a guitar like this is either just gonna feel crappy like that on purpose, and maybe they do that on purpose. Maybe that's another marketing technique to get you to feel like, oh, this LPJ doesn't feel anywhere near as good as a standard. Well, of course it doesn't, because they fucking haven't finished making this. Where a guy like me is going to grab this guitar and he's going to go, oh, okay, these things need adjusting. Because I've taught myself all about this. And I'm trying to pass, and that's what I've been trying to do with my channel for the last few years, is pass that sort of information on to you guys. right? Because I get it from sources like Dave and Fletcher and all those other guys we all like. But at some point, you know, us regular guys kind of, you need to have your eyes opened a little bit. And I wish a lot of these review channels would get a lot less attention than they actually deserve, because frankly, as a consumer, I can tell you I'm well over it. I have not seen a bad review of this guitar online. Not a single bad review of this guitar I haven't seen. Maybe one exists, but I haven't been able to find one. And that should tell you something, because it should be getting not a negative review, but like this nut stuff. And this was the same with my last one, and the sharp fret ends. Like, they're all like that. It's not just this one, right? And they're just things here that I can tell somebody from a marketing department said, you got to do this, otherwise it's going to be too much like the standard. Right? It's going to be too much like the expensive one. And we can't have that. We've got to have people wanting, this is a marketing exercise. This guitar here is a marketing exercise in deception, as far as I'm concerned. Because you're paying all this money, and it's like, if you went to pay a tech to fix all these problems, you'd walk out of the store with another couple $100 in charges. At least. At least. Right? So then that brings the total of this guitar up to 9 something, which then brings it into studio territory, right? So like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with Gibson and companies like Gibson. I think it's deceptive what they're doing. I mean, even companies like Vox, like, they just put the cheapest, shittiest fucking junk components in these newer amplifiers. Just awful junk tubes, and you look at some of the electronics, like, I've had this thing open, you can just tell the parts are they're made to a price. Just enough to get it to sound the way you want it to sound. I'm not saying this is a bad amp, I'm just saying, like, those are the times we live in. And that already has a few problems, and so does that. Like, this rattles a little bit, it's way too fucking loud. It sounds great, but, like, these things aren't without their problems. And, those can be the difference between using something you paid a lot of money for and just letting it sit in the corner. And I think if you didn't know how to fix some of these problems, and you were a good player, better than me, you would notice these problems and they would begin to bug you, and you would either have to pay for them or you'd have to work out how to do this yourself. Which is why I've gone on this entire journey, because I got pissed off. The whole reason I started doing this channel is because I had a studio, Les Paul Studio, a few years ago that I was just pissed off with. I'd paid, I don't know, $1,100 for this just beautiful looking Les Paul Studio that just had all these little problems. And it drove me crazy, and I thought, for $1,100, a guitar should not have these problems. But I'm beginning to think that from a marketing perspective, these problems are built into these. They're built into these products. Which is so frustrating. Anyway, that's my rant for today. I spent all day yesterday clearing away snow, so I'm a bit tired and a bit cranky. But I promise I'll have a few more positive videos about how to address all these little niggles with something that, for the most part, like 80% is a great guitar. Like 80% of the way there. And that's what we're going to deal with in the next few videos about this thing. So, anyway, I hope your backs don't hurt if you never live anywhere near Ottawa, because there was a lot of snow yesterday.